Hey, I'm Ryan. I'm a product specialist at SiteStacker, and today we're going to take a look at how to build a simple workflow in Motion 2.5. Let's start with a quick overview of Motion 2.5. Motion 2.5 allows you to automate business processes and manage them with a powerful administrative dashboard. Automation can be used for processes as simple as the review of a contact form on your website or complex onboarding workflows. A workflow is a defined business process with specific tasks assigned to specific roles. A workflow can also include various statuses or states such as active, on hold, discontinued, or completed. In order to ensure a successful workflow build, you will need access to the following components: data groups, CRM, users, Motion 2, and Site Planner. If you do not have access to these components, please contact your systems administrator for assistance. Let's start with data groups. Data groups are one of the foundational building blocks needed in order to create forms in Motion 2.5. Let's begin by clicking on the data groups component. Here on the left, you will see a list of all the data groups that exist in your system. On the right, you will see the values in each menu. Let's click Add on the left and create a new data group. Let's name your data group Favorite Food and hit Save and Close. Now navigate to your newly created data group in the menu. Right-click on the menu and choose Manage Fields. In this window, we are going to build the structure of our data group. For this example, we will be creating a simple data group. For information on more complex data group creation, watch the video Complex Data Groups at sitestacker.training. Click Add at the top of this window. For the type of field, we are going to choose text. This will create a text field column in the data group. We will label this column Label. This will also create an alias label, which is how the system will know how to refer to the object you have just created. Let's hit Save and Close. Next, we'll add another column, and this time we'll select Number. We'll call this column Order. Let's save and close. Now that our columns are done, you can X out of this window. Notice that your column headers are now displaying in the right window. We can now add drop-down values to your list by clicking the Add button on the right window. For our first label, let's type pizza, and in the order field, let's add the number 1. And let's save and close. Let's add another value and call it hamburgers and add the number 2 for our order. Congratulations, you just created a data group. This data group has 2 columns you can sort by when added to a CRM entity field or to a Motion 2.5 form. Let's take a look at how to build entities in the CRM component. Open the CRM component and select the Configuration tab on the sidebar. Next, select the Entities tab. Entities are custom data that can be added to any CRM record in addition to the core CRM fields such as name or email address. Here you will see a list of entity groups. Entity groups are folders that allow you to categorize data you would like to save. So let's add an entity group by clicking the Add Entity Group button at the top of this window. For this example, we are going to name our entity group Food Preferences, and then save and close. Next, we will right-click on our new entity group and select Add Entity. Let's name this one Favorite Food. Now that we have an entity group and entity for categorizing data, we can create an entity field or place to save this specific data. Right-click on the entity, Favorite Food, and select Manage Fields. In this pop-up window, we can create brand new fields or reference data groups that we have already created in the system. Let's add our first field by clicking the Add button at the top of this window. You'll notice that you can scroll through various types of fields that might be useful in your data collection. For our example, we are going to select Type and choose the data group Favorite Food from the list. The settings will now reference the data group we configured. You can take note of some general settings and how they relate to data viewed and saved within the CRM view. One thing to note is that these settings will not translate to Motion 2.5 forms, but are only used for how they are displayed in the admin view. Scroll down to the custom field settings. Here we can see that label column is chosen as the field to display. This ensures that values saved in the label column from our data group will display to the front-end user. You can render this field as a combo box or radio group based on your preference. Let's choose Combo Box. Next, we are going to skip down to Order By and select Order. This will use the numbers in the order column of the data group to sort our list. In order direction, let's choose Ascending. And let's make sure that we have a label called Favorite Food in our entity. And then let's save and close. Congratulations, you have just created a custom CRM entity in your installation. Let's take a look at the Users component. Open the Users component and select Groups from the sidebar. Here you will see a list of all the user groups that are configured on your installation. For our example, we are going to create a brand new one. Let's name this one Food Admin and save and close. Next, make sure to add yourself to the user group by clicking on the user group and then going to Group Users tab and selecting Add. Congratulations, you've just created a new user group on your installation. Let's click on the Motion 2 icon and begin creating a workflow. First, we are going to right-click on the Workflows icon and then click Add Workflow. In this pop-up, we can name our workflow and configure a few settings. Give your workflow a name. It can be anything you'd like. We'll call ours Favorite Food. You'll notice that the title field also fills in. The title is what will show externally or in the dashboard, while the name is what you will see here in your admin view. Duration type lets you select if this workflow has a specific end date, a dynamic date, or one that is calculated based on when the workflow is started, or based on the date of an event you are hosting. For now, we'll keep this set to dynamic. The next parameters are explained below. We are going to check Allow Multiple so that someone could submit this form multiple times, and we're going to leave everything else the way it is for this example. You should now see your new workflow in your workflow list. You can right-click on your workflow to see a secondary menu with some of the following options. Edit, which allows you to edit the settings we just saved, Delete, which deletes the workflow, and Manage Statuses. This menu allows you to include various statuses or states like active, on hold, discontinued, or completed. Note that these statuses are unique to each workflow and are not universal. To learn more about this secondary menu, please visit our training site at sitestacker.training. Now that we have created our new workflow, we are going to create two roles. Let's start by creating a primary role. A A primary role is a user who is external to your organization, such as someone completing a contact form in order to connect with you. So let's right-click on the primary role icon and choose Add Role. When you name your role, it will auto-fill in the alias as well. Be sure to choose something that makes sense to you and your organization, preferably something that won't need to change. It is important to note that if you are using variables in your workflow, changing an alias will also break those variables. We're going to name this role Contact. Every workflow needs a main role to create a workflow engagement, so let's check the main role box. Next, in the dashboard setting, we are going to select the dashboard page that will become the default page that our contact returns to once they complete a task. Most users have multiple tasks, which makes the universal task list an ideal selection. You may have other list pages configured for departments and users, but if not, the default will do. Now we can save and close. Next, let's create a secondary role. A secondary role is someone who is internal to your organization, such as administrators, management, directors, and other staff members. While primary roles are not connected to user groups, secondary roles are required to be in a user group. These are individuals you have hired and vetted that you trust with access and permissions to view client data within your organization. Right-click on the secondary role icon and choose Add Role. Just like before, when you name your role, it will autofill in the alias as well. We are going to name this role Food Admin. Notice that our secondary role requires the selection of a user group in order for us to save it. This is to ensure that the right person or group of people receive tasks and notifications related to this workflow. The default template installed in the SiteStacker has user group folders set up in the following hierarchy: all staff, department or group, then position or role. You may have different folders in your installation based on structure preferences. User group folder permissions are additive. This means that in the all staff folder, there should only be permissions that all staff are allowed to have. The department group level should have permissions set to their specific needs, i.e. finance, automation, etc. And the position or role level only needs additional permissions for specific needs to that role. For more information on setting up user groups, you can visit the training site at sitestacker.training and search user groups. For this exercise, we are going to select the Food Admin user group we created previously. Next, for the dashboard dropdown, we will select our universal task list. If you have relationship connections that you would like to use, you can connect them here as well. For this example, we will leave ours blank. Now select Save and Close. Now that we have created a primary and secondary role, let's start setting up our simple workflow. The first thing we are going to do is add a landmark. A landmark is an organizational item in Motion 2.5 workflows. Landmarks can be used to help organize the different stages of a workflow to make the sequence of events easier to follow visually. Landmarks can also play a part in the workflow itself. Triggers can be set on a landmark so that all the tasks within a landmark are triggered at the same time, or so that all the tasks within a landmark need to be completed before the next stage of the workflow executes. Landmarks are identified by the flag icon in Motion 2.5 workflows. Right-click on your workflow and select Add Landmark. You can name your landmark based on the part of the workflow you are in. We'll name ours Web Form. And then we'll save and close. Next, right-click on the landmark and select Add Task. In this pop-up window, we can select the type of task we want to create and set various parameters. First, let's select Form as the type of task we're going to create. For the assigned role, we are going to choose our primary role of contact that we created earlier. In the name field, let's call this task Getting to Know You. You'll notice that the title has already filled in. The title is what users will see when they see this task. The name field is what admins will see in the Motion 2 component. In the body, we can put instructions, information, variables, and other forms of information. For now, we are going to simply write, "Help us get to know you a little bit." We'll leave the other settings as they are and select Save and Close. Right-click on the form you just created and select Manage Form Fields. This will open a new window where we can create our simple form. Right-click the icon at the top and choose Person Field Set. This allows you to select the role that you want to save data to. Let's select Contact and then Save and Close. In order to save a CRM record into your system, the minimum data you need is a first and last name. However, it is also good practice to capture some way to contact the individual, like an email or phone number. Right-click on the person icon and let's add a few person fields. The first two we will add are first and last name. So in field, we'll select first name, select required, and save and close. We'll do the same thing for last name. And then finally, let's add a primary email address, which we'll call email, and make this required as well. Next, we want to add a custom entity field that we created in our system. Right-click on the person icon and add an entity field set. In the entity field, search for and select favorite food, and then save and close. Next, right-click on the entity group and add the custom field favorite food. We're going to make this field required, set it to be a combo box, and we'll set the order to ascending. We'll order it by the order field and order it in ascending direction, and then save and close. Congratulations, you have just created a simple form task in Motion 2.5. Next, we are going to create a second task by right-clicking the landmark and selecting Add Task again. Let's create another form task, but assign this one to the food admin role. Let's call this one, It's Time to Connect. In the body, we are going to write, It's time to connect with. Next, we're going to go to the variables on the right, open Contact, and find the full name variable and double-click. This will pull in the contact's first and last name into the body of the task. And let's save and close. Great, now we have two tasks for two different people, but now we need to connect them. Right-click on your first task and select Add Trigger. A new window will open up with trigger parameters. For this example, we are going to select Task Completion in the source. This means the trigger will fire when the task is submitted successfully. Then, under Trigger Action, we are going to select Assign Task. In the Tasks menu, select the It's Time to Connect task and then save and close. Congratulations, you have just successfully created a two-task workflow. Let's take a look at how to display a form field on your website for contacts to fill out. Open the Site Planner component. In the Site Plan window, choose your installation and open the accordion folder. In all pages, we are going to right-click and select Add Page. Let's name our page Getting to Know You. Now we'll save and close. Next, let's go to the Sites side and search for Basic Wrapper. And we'll select the one for our website. Drag this to our Getting to Know You page and select Body and Basic as your views. We'll also add a little padding to the top and bottom with vertical padding 3 so the form looks good. Next, we are going to go to the Dashboard Modules folder in the Sites window. Right-click and choose Add Item. The module we are going to be using is called the Task Sequence module. Then just press Save. You'll notice that once you hit Save, your module configurations appeared. Here, we're going to select the Getting to Know You task in the workflow that we just created. First, let's choose our workflow. Then we can put a landmark in. Then find the task we created. Lastly, we need to select the page that this form is going to default to. Select the page we just created in Site Planner, and then save and close. Drag the module you have just created into the basic wrapper on our Getting to Know You page, and then hit Save and Close. Right-click on your page and select Preview. Congratulations, you should now be able to see your form on the website. Now that you have your form created, you can submit a test form and log into your dashboard on the admin side to see your next task in action. We'll go ahead and do that now. And here on the admin side in your task list, you'll see that in the favorite food workflow, we have a new task called It's Time to Connect. I can click and open that, and now it says it's time to connect with test contact the third, so our variable worked. Congratulations, you have just completed the tutorial on how to build a simple workflow. For more videos on workflow building or learning other parts of SiteStacker, visit our training site at sitestacker.training.